everyone to ADEX Pixel Virtual Expo and also Blue Hope World Children Day celebration. And today for this session, we are definitely very lucky because this session will be discussing a whole lot more about this latest new initiative, which is called the creation of Sabah Plastic Neutral. And it is definitely a community movement that this panelists and also a group of speakers that will be joining us shortly to talk a little bit more about this initiative that they're trying to push. Herewith, I would like to not delay any further, and I would like to actually introduce our moderator for this session, and he is none other than Aaron Gagowski. I always messed up the name. I'm sorry. Aaron Gagowski, or what we normally call him is Bertie, to share with us a little bit more, and also to share also with the audiences, the rest of the panelists. Herewith, without any further ado, let me pass the baton to Aaron or Bertie. Here you go.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And welcome everyone to the next webinar, which is the creation of Sabah Plastic Neutral, a community movement. We've got a fantastic, very diverse panel today, including Simon Christopher from Blue Hope, as well as Monica Chin from Blue Hope. We have Mr. Leung from DBKK. Then we have we're privileged to say that we have the Assistant Tourism, Culture, Environment Minister at Datuk Joniston. And we also have, well, I hope we have, Monique from WWF Sabah. Is Monique here? Or maybe we don't have Monique from WWF Sabah. Maybe she'll be making it later on.
I'm here.
Oh, Monique, you are?
I'm here.
You are, okay, fantastic. Sorry, maybe on mute. Great stuff, welcome. Along with that, we have Fiona Hagan, who's the GM of Shangri-La Rassia Resort. And so before we kick off with today's webinar, I'll just tell you briefly how I became involved in Sabah and how I became involved in this project. I'm actually an environmental photojournalist by trade. I was working in Africa for many years, documenting human-animal conflict. And then I met with Simon Christopher many, many years ago in a rainy cafe in London. And I got speaking to Simon. We'd been in touch over the years. And Simon started to tell me about this mystical place called Sabah. And I didn't actually really know much about Sabah. I knew of Borneo, but I didn't know that it was made up of Indonesia, Malaysia, and Brunei. I certainly didn't know that much. So Simon started regaling me with these stories, and he was telling me about this seemingly mystical land which is the most biodiverse on the planet, with some of the most charismatic animals. And I was enchanted, and I wanted to know, and said, why don't you come over to Sabo, and why don't you be the host on our new TV channel called Scuba Zoo TV? And that was about in 2004, I think. And then I spent 4 or 5 happy years living in Sabah, documenting the people, the wildlife, the wild places, and as well as that, some of the conservation stories. Because yes, we all know that Sabah is one of the most biodiverse places on the planet, but it is not somewhere that doesn't have its environmental challenges. And that's what we're here to talk about today. So Simon, perhaps you might be able to kick us off. And are you able to please explain to the audience what the concept of Sabah Plastic Neutral is, please?
Sure. Thank you, Bertie. Hello, everyone. So I have been living in Sabah for 27 years. I'm a marine biologist, marine zoologist, and I arrived in Sabah in 1995 and fell in love with it and never really left. We started Scuba Zoo and have been telling stories of Sabah's wildlife, marine biodiversity, and bringing them to the world with Scuba Zoo. And we've worked with Sir David Attenborough and brought lots of presenters over and been involved in about 200 hours of programming from Sabah over the last 20, 25 years. And what really appealed to me was obviously the diving on Cypran and the biodiversity. And there is just more biodiversity in Sabah than anywhere else. And biodiversity is the air we breathe and the water we drink, and is the most important. It is life itself. And you lose biodiversity, and that really is the number one problem, is we're losing biodiversity. And there are many different reasons which we might go through later. But plastic neutrality is it's a very aspirational term that is really being defined as we speak, as we enter a new decade, a new plastic era, where plastic actually has value. For the last 30, 40 years, we've created hundreds of millions of tons of plastic, but it's been single use, and people have used it for 1 or 2 or 5 or 10 seconds, and it's gone, and people throw it away, but no one realizes or thinks about where away is. And that's the problem, because particularly in Asia, there's very little waste management facilities set up, and so a lot of it ends up in the environment, and usually in the ocean. And so now plastic has become one of the biggest problems on the planet. And the reality is that it's really it unifies all the problems that we have, because as soon as you start talking about plastic, in fact, it becomes a water shortage problem or a food security problem. So plastic neutrality is really an engaging aspirational term that's meant to unify everyone and say, this is a global problem. Everyone has this problem. You clean a beach anywhere around the world. One day you come back, the next day there's been incoming tide, and there are hundreds of kilos of plastic sitting there. And so the quite exciting thing now is that actually plastic now has value, because we can turn it into its original constituent oils and gases. And so the exciting thing is that in fact plastic now has value. And so plastic neutrality, or Sabah plastic neutral, is really looking at the next decade and saying we need to change the way we consume. So we need to manage the plastic use in and out into the system. We need to maximize the recycling of existing plastic in the system. And we, at the same time, we need to start creating our own more biodegradable plastics from things like seaweed. And so essentially we're looking to turn it into a community movement, creating circular economies. And the big problem, Bertie, is that if we said the world has maybe 100 locations where you still have biodiversity, and the community living amongst that biodiversity, currently they can't put food on the table. And until we can find a mechanism whereby we can create a mechanism where that biodiversity is worth more alive to those communities than dead, I'm afraid we're in serious trouble. So plastic now having value is the exciting thing. And this kickstarted last year with Timor-Leste plastic neutral, and we're now looking to do this here in Sabah. And so Timor-Leste and Sabah combined are one of the last biodiversity frontiers on the planet, part of the Coral Triangle, about 4% of the world's surface area, about the size of the States. And there's more biodiversity in that 4% than the rest of the planet combined. So this is our opportunity. Sabah has so much biodiversity. And so we're really looking to, sort of rebranding exercise, to look at Sabah and say, how can we embrace the future and to do things differently? Because clearly what we've been doing so far has been going right. So with that said, I'd love to throw this to the floor and throw that back to you, Bert, and see what you think. Is that giving you an idea? So it's an aspirational opportunity to engage all stakeholders. So works in progress, coming from a position where we have the most value in terms of biodiversity and more to save than anywhere else on the planet.
Simon, thank you. Thank you. That was the perfect answer. Couldn't have put it better myself. Well, perhaps we can now go to, because we're very lucky to have someone from the ministry here today. So it'd be great to get their perspective on this too. So I'd like to introduce the Assistant Tourism, Culture and Environment Minister, and that's Datuk Jonathan. Datuk, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Datuk.
I gather as well, you've only got a short amount of time today to talk to us, so it'd be great to have your perspective.
I would like to stay longer, but I have a prior commitment. Well, first and foremost, thank you for inviting the Ministry of Tourism, Culture, and Environment to be a part of this webinar, Sabah Plastic Neutral. On behalf of the Ministry, I would like to congratulate and put on record our sincere appreciation to the British High Commission and deeply committed Blue Hope Sabah team led by Mr. Simon Christopher for the initiative to organize this webinar, which I believe will go a long way towards creating awareness about the impact caused by plastic pollution. As we all may have known, Malaysia is the 12th mega diverse countries in the world, and Sabah, the second largest territory in the Federation of Malaysia, is blessed with natural heritage of phenomenal biodiversity in coral reefs and tropical rainforest ecosystems with biological richness unmatched anywhere else on Earth. And our state has an abundance of indigenous flora and fauna. And in Sabah, you can visit 400 million year old rainforest and some of the richest reefs on the planet on the same day. And Sabah is indeed truly a remarkable jewel in Malaysia's crown. And in Sabah, you can come face to face with orangutans in the oldest rainforest on our planet, or swim with turtles and whale sharks, the largest fish in the sea, within 10 minutes of Sabah's state capital, Kota Kinabalu. And you can explore reefs teeming with marine life, or climb to the summit of the highest mountain in Southeast Asia, Mount Kinabalu, which is home to the greatest variety of plants in the world. But sadly, this is the sad part. Our natural heritage is under threat. One of the scourges is plastic pollution. Based on Malaysia's roadmap towards zero single-use plastics 2018-2030, published by the then Ministry of Energy, Science, Technology, Environment and Climate Change, environmental problems related to plastic waste have become a major problem in Malaysia, where it has been ranked as 8th among the top 10 countries with mismanaged plastic waste in the world. And one of the studies conducted estimated that Malaysia had produced 0.94 million tons of mismanaged plastic waste, of which 0.14 to 0.37 million tons may have been washed into the oceans. And some studies have highlighted the potential health effects of single-use plastics on human and animals. The single-use plastics issue is one of the key challenges we are facing in Sabah. And although quantitative data is lacking on the use of single-use plastic in this state, this problem is apparent in many places. And this could be attributed to public apathy. And this is the biggest problem. When the public lacks the concern in managing waste properly and solely depending on the government to solve it, the problem will remain. The state government, through the Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Environment, has taken various steps to address the problem. And among them are environmental education programs in schools and communities to create awareness on the impacts of single-use plastic and actions that can be taken to reduce waste in line with the Sabah environmental education policy. And various government agencies and NGOs have been working together through the Sabah Environmental Education Network, SEEN, to implement education programs related to single-use plastic at all levels of society. And the Sabah state government is also very happy to support campaigns such as Blue Hope, designed to raise awareness about the importance of protecting the environment and the ways that collectively the government, businesses, and individuals can change our consumer behavior to stop plastic pollution reaching the environment and our ocean. Education and awareness and spreading the good word, starting with youth, is absolutely key. So it's great to hear about the Plastic Ocean series in Bahasa Malaysia with Maya Karin launching today, and I really hope this campaign can be rolled out across all of Sabah's schools soon. And as we all know also, the Sabah state policy on the environment was launched some 3 years ago in April 2017, which Sabah is the first state in Malaysia to have her own environmental policy. To ensure the policy is implemented effectively, action plans have been formulated based on sustainable development principles. One of the action plans emphasizes on the pertinent needs to address waste management issues. Apart from the above, the Sabah State Secretary has also issued a circular entitled Surat Pekeliling AM Bilangan 1 tahun 2019, which is meant for all government ministries, departments, and agencies as part of an initiative to avoid or reduce the use of single-use plastics. So what have we achieved so far? Well, schools involved in our Sekolah Rakan Alam Sekitar program or SERASI are actively reducing the use of single-use plastics in the activities and implementing 3R, reduce, reuse, recycle. And some of these schools have received national and international recognition of the effort in environmental education. And among the schools are the Sekolah Menengah St. Michael in Penampang and the Sekolah Kebangsaan Babakan Toki also in Penampang. And I'm glad to say that the Sabah Tourism, Culture and Environment Ministry and agencies will be leading from the front and have started initiative to reduce the use of single-use plastics during our internal programs and meetings. We will continue to intensify our strategies and efforts to curb and address this issue that is affecting all of us. We all need to take a concerted effort to address this problem, as this will involve many government and non-government stakeholders. My ministry has applied for the required budget under the 12 Malaysia Plan to conduct a study on the status of single-use plastic usage and its alternatives in Sabah. We recognize the plastic pollution problems in Sabah and will only be solved if we all change our behaviors and stop using single-use plastic and treat our plastic with more respect, and what plastic we do use is recycled and doesn't go into the environment. This is why in the medium term, the Sabah government hope to set up a recycling facility in the state. I look forward to working with Sabahans and the Sabah team at Blue Hope to deliver Sabah plastic neutral in our state. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much,
so much,
Dato'.
Dato'.
Thank you, and it's great to see what commitment there is from the ministry to reducing our plastic footprint, and to see what's been put in place so far and what your plans are for the future as well. So thank you very much for that. I'd now like to hand over to Mr. Leung, who is Director of the Solid Waste Management for DBKK, for his perspective. Mr. Leung.
Yang berhormat Datuk, selamat petang, good afternoon to everyone, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Leong Zifui. Can you hear me, Bertie?
Yes, can hear you fine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Leong Zifui. I'm in charge of the solid waste management in Kota Kinabalu City Hall. Our biggest problem is the plastic bottle, the PET bottles. And as you can see in our sea line, in our river line, they are full of plastic. That's why our staff is going in every day to clean all the rubbish on a daily basis. Okay. During our composition study at our landfill, we found out that most of the rubbish consist of plastic bottles. Plastic bottles, they consist of 30% out of our municipal solid waste, and it's a major problem to the city. The plastic bottles they all come from the
connection problem.
I think we might be losing Mr. Leung because of the connection there.
Yeah.
Can anyone else not hear him? Okay.
Yeah.
Right, and until we can get him back.
He's come back. He come back.
Oh, we just lost you for a second, Mr. Leung.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry. Okay. As you can see, our sea line and the river line, this along the upstream we are going to the upstream. There are lots of illegal squatters, and these illegal squatters contributed a lot of this rubbish to our shoreline, and it's a biggest challenge for our city hall as a local authority to handle with this kind of rubbish. I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And now, without further ado, to go to Fiona Hagan, who is the GM of Shangri-La Rasaria Resort.
Hi, thanks, Bertie, and hello, and thank you, everyone. For Shangri-La Rasaria Resort, we have actually a very good relationship with Blue Hope and the community, and our resort. You can see actually we're nestled here under 64. We've got a 60 nature reserve. We sit on 450 acres, our resort. So actually we have a big vested interest to ensure that we do what's right inside the community. So I just wanted to talk a little bit today about what the resort's done and show you some different initiatives that we've put in place. Maybe we can move on to the next slide. Rasaria was the very first hotel in Sabah to actually remove our plastic straws. And we did that in February of 2018. And actually we see ourselves as really, I would say, the leaders in the hospitality industry in Sabah, and the resort that is really committed to reducing our single-use plastic footprint. I wanted to share with you today, a message that actually we have that is translated across nearly every touch point inside our resort. So we have the stainless steel bottles that we use for guests. We have them available for purchase. We have this message actually also on our glass bottles that sit inside our guest room. So we don't use single-use plastic. We have an osmosis bottling plant that actually we bottle the water ourselves for use for guests. And we also have 15 actually water stations around the resort where guests can actually go and refill the bottled water themselves. Maybe on to the next slide. We also see and I share this here because this was back in 2018, the end of 2018. We have a very strong commitment to the local community, and we see, I think, as Dato' Johnston mentioned, we see our responsibility as not only to take care of our own home and our own footprint of Rasaria, but also to get out into the community and to help educate, exactly at some of the different programs that are in place. How can we educate the schools, the children, and how can we also empower them? So we produce BPA-free silicone bottles. We put into schools now. We've placed 5 different water dispensing filtration systems in schools around our hotel, around the Tuaran area. And we receive a lot of enthusiasm, I would say, from the local schools, the principals and the students. And this is something that we're very proud about, and also our associates. I think the next slide. Yeah, so you can see here. So this is actually with one of the schools that is located close to the hotel, but this is a continuing commitment from the resort. We focus very much on educating our students, bringing them into the resort. We actually bring these students in. We show them our bottling plant. We invite them to come in to help us actually clean our beach, to pick up rubbish. We have a very 3-kilometre long beach inside the resort. So it's very important, to us that it's not only, our responsibility to clean what sits on our land, but also to invite others to come in so that we can help change the behaviour of the people around us. So next slide. So here you can see actually, our beautiful beach. And as we're sharing information here, and it is, and I think Mr. Leong just talked about it before, about the actual plastic problem, and we see that on a daily basis. Our beach is 3 kilometres long. On average, and this is a really staggering number, but on average, we would pick up 500 kilograms of waste every week. And I know, some people find that quite staggering, but, with a 3-kilometre beach, you've got different access points, and it's I think it's also for us an awareness program. We invite our local villagers, as I said, some of the communities, the schools, to actually join us on these programs, and we see much greater responsibility taken by the heads of the local villages and by the heads of the schools, and therefore they want to partner with us. How can we educate? How can we educate the future generations to ensure that this problem doesn't exist? And then just lastly, Rasaria is all about the community. Around 2 years ago, we started working with the local community on bringing the local community to come into the resort, and to do that via different NGO programs. And they actually create natural or local handicraft up into the different villages. They bring them into the resort, and we sell this to customers. We actually sell this to multinational customers that come from United States, they come from Singapore, China, and actually they generate income back into the local community. These customers come down, they might bring 500 delegates, 400 delegates. We've had a case of an American client actually spending $50,000 US on local handicrafts that were made by the Sabahans, for the local market. And I think for us, we know that this is the right thing to do. We know to reduce our single-use plastic is the right thing to do. But I think Rasaria has been really successful to also turn this into a commercial venture, to make it also not only good for the environment, but it is also good for business. And I think that's why I feel really passionate about being here today and, part of this movement, because, and seeing Dato' Johnston here from the Ministry of Tourism, because this is not only, good for the environment, this will bring us business. This will bring more tourism, it will bring more business to Sabah. Thank you.
Sorry. Thank you so much. If only more resorts did as much as Rasaria did for the environment, then we would be in a much better place than we are at the moment.
Sorry, Bertie. Datuk have something to say?
No, excess, but
okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have to take leave now. Wishing you all the best, and I hope to be in touch with all of you again. Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, Datuk. Thank you so
for
much.
joining us,
Thank you.
Thank you, Datuk.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, so I was just saying that's a very valid point that you can't always rely on businesses and corporations to do the right thing just for the sake of altruism and because they're environmentally minded. And what we have to do is we have to make this essentially a business enterprise, and we have to make this actually work, make money for people. Otherwise, it's not going to be successful in the long run. So now I would like to hand over to Monique from WWF.
Thank you, Aaron. Good evening, everyone. I'm Monique Sumampo from WWF Malaysia. And I would like to appreciate, of course, the initiative of this plastic neutral community of Sabah to the Blue Hope. And I think this is a very good initiative, that it's also an important event tonight and today, I think, from this partner of Blue Hope and stakeholders in here. So I think it's about the time that we have to act seriously because of the impact of this plastic. As Datuk mentioned just now, that around 0.2, 0.3 million tons being washed to the ocean of the plastic. And we know that this impact to not only the impact to the marine mammals, of the turtle, of the marine birds, and all the biodiversity that living there, but also it become as a microplastic. So many postmortem of this mammalians, turtle, as we know as well, conducted in Sabah or probably by university, find out that the plastic or microplastic and a small plastic inside them. So this is the cause of the death of this marine mammal as well. So I would like to quote on one of the WWF International recent study, that they are saying that in average approximately of 5 grams of microplastic per week we consume. That is also equivalent to around 1,769 particle of plastic in our body in a week. So that is also equivalent with the credit card around this size. I cannot see. Yeah. No branding showing. So around that the credit card size, that is annually we consume through the drinking water, only from the drinking water, not to mention from the food, from our seafood, etc. So this source is from the WWF International and University of Newcastle of Australia. So definitely this kind of things that we need to know, and we need to have more investment also on the part of the policy, stronger policy from the national government, from the state government, as well as the act from the partner. This is a very good shows that Fiona mentioned as how private sector also contribute to the act on that. And we need to also see the community not only as an object, because they are also part of our subject to work together with the government, with the, of course, NGO. We are WWF always work with the community. So we need to also invest a lot on the more study, because this is something that new. We need to also admit that we don't have a lot of information on the ground. Yeah. And as we know, Malaysia is in the middle of the 2 countries that known as the biggest pollutant in the world, which is Philippines and Indonesia. I think Indonesia number 2 and Philippines number 3, etc. And in the ocean, we cannot just say that okay, your waste, your marine debris stays in the border. You cannot coming to this area. It cannot, because the flows is all around, the current is all around between Malaysia, Indonesia, Australia, etc. So even though the awareness is very good, even though the act in Malaysia is no plastic at all, assuming, but still there are plastic coming in from the neighbor country, Indonesia and Philippines, and vice versa. So it means that the action in here is not necessary only within one country, but it's more for also for the regional and also, of course, the beyond that. I think at the first message, I would start from there first. Aaron, thank you very much.
Okay, I actually have a question for you. So at the moment, the planet, we are facing so many environmental catastrophes. How high up do you think that plastic pollution is on these list of environmental catastrophes? Are we in the middle of a plastic crisis?
We need to also admit that plastic has a lot of benefit and use as well for the daily use, daily domestic, right? But the thing is, we are getting smarter. We need to have an option. We need to have a solution also to make a better balance between the environmental impact of the plastic and also the use for the benefit of domestic and the production itself. So I think it's the urgency in here is about the same, because this is also attacking the human body system, because this is also attacking the in the future for the health of the body. And we probably just don't know yet because it's not enough information out there. We just have just started about this probably a few years back. And we probably may also surprise if we invest more on the study, if we invest more on the knowledge on what happened out there, right? So this is something that we need to think of.
Thank you. And that's absolutely terrifying, the recent data that you came up with about a credit card's worth of plastic accumulating in our body every year just from drinking water. But hopefully that's kind of that's the sort of studies that will latch on in people's minds, and they'll be able to actually remember that. So really, really interesting work. Now, and I apologize in advance, but no webinar would be complete without speaking about COVID. So I would like to open this question up to the group. So tourism is the biggest contributor towards the Sabahan economy. What does tourism look like in a post-COVID era within Sabah? Simon, would you like to try and tackle this question first?
Sure. Thanks, Bertie. I mean, yeah, the world is we've had the rug pulled from beneath our feet, and everyone is starting to realize that, you know, the safest thing to do is to stay at home and wait for the vaccine. But you can't do that. You have to try and kickstart the engines. So any departure from that extreme, forcing people to stay at home, there's going to be loss of life, and there's going to be a lack of synchronization in our human response. But you've got to get the engine going. That's the big problem. So for Sabah, if we zone in on Sabah, which is what this is all about, for me, this COVID has essentially been a wake-up call and a bit of a nature shock. And we have an opportunity now here because we're not going to have tourism back here for a couple of years, I'm afraid. That's just the reality. And so I think that we need to look within and clean up Sabah. We need to come up with a big campaign, clean up Sabah, and embrace the opportunity and put our hand up and say, we are going to become plastic neutral. And the world will follow Sabah in the same way Timor-Leste and Sabah together as the most biodiverse frontiers on the planet, the world will follow. And we have more value. So we almost, we've got an amazing opportunity. Once the biodiversity is gone, we're like other locations all over the world. But in KK, you have, it's an incredible location, KK. You can go out to an island and you can swim with a shark, and you can swim with a whale shark. You can swim with a turtle. You can see a proboscis monkey. You can see hornbills. This is all 10 minutes away from Hong Kong Bank. You come up from a dive, there's Mount Kinabalu, there's Hong Kong Bank. There's no other capital city on the planet where you can have that biodiversity. And then you jump on a plane and you see big elephants or orangutan. So it really is Sabah's opportunity to embrace this. And no amount of money or technology is going to fix the environmental woes of Sabah, or indeed the culture, and indeed the world. We have to go through a spiritual and a cultural transformation because people have to embrace it together. This is about change in behavior, and what Sabah has is more to save and protect than anywhere else. So I see this as Sabah's opportunity, and bringing in technologies, starting an education awareness campaign, and doing a number of different things all together in a synchronized way for the next 2 years, protecting our biodiversity is the future. And if we can stand up and say Sabah's leading the charge in Malaysia, following Timor-Leste, these two locations are looking to protect their biodiversity, and we spend the next 2 years doing that, then we can essentially rebrand ourselves and become a bit like a sort of a blue Bhutan, and basically say, look, this is the new Sabah. And that's what I think the opportunity is. That's what I find it very exciting, even though it's very hard and daunting, because we're not going to have tourism. But I do believe that once we create this, this aspiration and this kind of, this is what we're going to do, then it's going to create, we can create a benchmark, and it becomes a sense of excellence. We'll bring in scientists, we'll bring in academia, we can get international collaboration. There's lots of funding out there tackling this academic research, this tackling plastic pollution, and this is our opportunity. This is Sabah's opportunity, and I think the time is now to move forward with it in our hand.
Okay, so over to Monica, who's the community director of Blue Hope, and a general conservation. She's been at the forefront of conservation efforts in Sabah for, well, since the dawn of time. I mean, she really is a champion for the issues over there. So Monica, what do you think? Do you think that this cultural shift is possible? Do you think that we can get people to care more about plastic pollution within Sabah?
Yeah, thank you, Bertie. Yeah, thank you so much. And then, yeah, I'm so happy that you know, whatever we have discussed here today, and with the support of the Ministry of Tourism and all of you, that how to say, front leading the all the initiative, and never countlessly, you know. So I'm so what I see here is a huge opportunity. Is a huge chance for the community to, like Bertie said, to switch. There is an opportunity, you know, like for the people, they need to for the community here, they need to know more. They need to be aware, because in our stakeholder, in our community, yes, I have been doing all the championing crazy things, village to village, island to island, jungle to jungle, name it, around Sabah, you know. So I tend to pick up their attitude. They do care, they want to care, but they need to know how and what is the solution, what the alternative, what they need to do to start. Because nowadays the middle income and lower income people, they're more focused on the family, feeding the family, work, and to earn to feed the family. So not to say they don't care, but once they're aware what happened, like Monique said, that actually we are eating like one size of ATM, plastic ATM card. There is consist in our body, but if they know, I'm sure they will freak out. Because that's why Sabah Plastic Neutral is here. I'm leading the community for the Plastic Neutral project, that we will definitely give our full support to, especially to DBKK, to Rasaria, and all the hotel that want to want to move this gigantic machine to reach out to all our people at the very lower level in our community, not only in shoreline island, but from the rural to the urban area. Yes, Bertie, there is a chance, there is opportunity, and it's not too late. We still have a chance. But like Simon said, like our Assistant Minister, Dr. Jonathan, said we need to come together, and this is the good time. This is the right time. Whereas there's no tourism, there's no incoming, not to say stress, the incoming businesses. So this is the time for us to repair, restructure, restore, revive, or whatsoever. And the chance is huge. So we can do it. I strongly believe with my years of experience, we can do it. This is not a problem, but we need to come together. That's the point here. Yeah, thank you. Over to you, Bertie.
Thank you so much, Monica. And with people like you fighting for the cause, I'm sure that we can do it. Mr. Leung, I'd like to ask, what do you think? Do you think that there is a danger? So as we've touched upon, at the moment, the world everywhere is having this breathing time. For the environment to replenish, it's time to reduce pollution. But then is there a danger that as soon as tourism starts again, we just have all the same problems all over again? Mr. Leung?
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Are you happy to answer? Are you happy to answer that question?
Yeah, but for information, if the tourism sector will be open soon or open again, so the biggest challenge for us is to take care of our sea line. That's why I mentioned it before this. Our sea line is quite crucial at this moment, where we clean every day without fail. So that's the biggest challenge for us. As for the tourism sector, that doesn't bring any impact on the cleanliness, because most of our tourists come from China and Korea. I suppose they are well behaved, and when they come to Sabah, they're not doing any littering or anything else. So that's our biggest challenge is our sea line and our river line. Yeah, but
okay, Mr. Leung, maybe it's very soft. Maybe if you could have the mouthpiece closer to your mouth. We're just struggling to hear you a little bit.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, that's better. That's better. So Mr. Leung, what when you're out and you're speaking to the community and to your members of the community, why should your average person care about plastic pollution?
All right. Okay. Thanks, Bertie. The situation in the Kota Kinabalu district is quite crucial, especially on the plastic pollution. We can see it every day. It polluted our river, it polluted our sea, and we need to eliminate the single-use plastic, especially the plastic bottles, the PET bottles. We need to eliminate from the school to the government, and it all started from the ministry to set a policy on banning the single-use plastic, and this is very, very, very important. As for as a local authority, we as time goes by, and we need to to look again into our policy, whereby by eliminating the single-use plastic is very important. Yeah, Bertie.
Thank you so much, Mr. Leung. I think we're starting to run out of time now. So does anyone have anything else to add to this before we run out of time completely?
Yes, I just want to add, Aaron, if I may, since today is the Children's World Day, I think congratulations to all the children for today. I just want to copy on the children's spirit in here, right? Because children are very eager to learn. They are eager to know. They are willing to learn, and they are sometimes solution-based, because sometimes they can just take out their robotic, and then they think that they can give a solution on how that robotic works, etc. So let's copy that spirit and be the agent of change, because it will not work if only private that works on this, or only NGO, or only government. So this must have something that we need to work as a partner, as a one that I copy also Simon note before, and Monica. So I'm on it totally 100% with you all. And also for the government, we will support Tuan Leong if the DBKK also would like to be the in frontliners of this effort, definitely. Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you, Monica.
Thank you. I think that's, unless anyone else has anything to add, I think that's a fantastic place to end on, the fact that we all need to come together. This isn't just the responsibility of corporations or the government. This is everyone's responsibility. This is the responsibility of the general public. This is multinational corporations. This is the government, and we all need to come together to sort this crisis out. So unless there's Simon, do you have any final words?
How much time do we have, Nora? Are we out of time, or do we have more time?
I think we can do for another 10 minutes.
Oh, right. Okay, cool. Okay. I thought we were going to 8 o'clock. I thought, yeah, no, I mean, I think there's a few more things to say. I mean, as I said, the governments around the world, everyone realizes the problem. And so the reality is that around the world, we're approaching 8 billion people on the planet. And in Malaysia alone, we have over 200 landfills that are brimming full, almost to capacity. And that's an environmental catastrophe about to happen. So we actually have no choice. We have to do this. But the good news is that plastic, and in fact always, does actually have value. And so there are mechanisms coming through, and WWF have championed this. There's a new initiative called the EPR program, the Extended Producer Responsibility. And this is for the large plastic producers, so the Cokes and the Nestle's and the Unilevers and the large producers. They now have an opportunity through the EPR program is to put money back in. And so what we need to do is to create this plastic value chain. So one of the things we're doing is we're creating an app, a plastic app, which basically means it incentivizes people to not throw plastic away. So instead of finishing your Coke bottle, you take a scan of the barcode and you keep it. And once you get to 1 or 2 or 3 kilos, you get a WhatsApp from Ahmed or Mr. Chin or whoever and says, I'm going to come and collect your plastic. And as soon as he collects that plastic, you get a ka-ching, you get a top up in your Grab account or your Starbucks account into your EPF. And so it's a mechanism to incentivize people to stop throwing away. Now that's really exciting because all of a sudden it means plastic has value. So that beach that I was saying to you, any islands, Pulau Gaya, all around the world, all around Sabah, basically you can go and collect plastic and it will have value. And right now on the Malaysian market, 1 kilo of washed plastic is about 60 cents. But the reality is once an EPR program comes in, we can engage with these large producers and basically say, let's start a collection program in Sabah. Basically, let's pay $1 or even $2 for Prime and get people out there and create that circular economy. Now that's really exciting. And that's what we need to embrace. And so it's a number of things. It needs a synchronized movement, but this is Sabah's opportunity. And I think we've got a really exciting few years ahead, but we've got to embrace it together. Everyone needs to link arms and go for it. And everyone said, yes, we need to do this. And the world will watch Sabah. It will be transformational for Sabah. And we can start now. We have UNESCO Ocean Decade starting next year. We have 10 years for the world to look, study, and listen to the ocean. And that is our opportunity. Sabah has the best marine biodiversity. So Sabah, together with Timor-Leste, are the first places where this starts. And yeah, I think it's very exciting. The next 10 years is our opportunity.
Thank you so much, Simon. What about you, Fiona? Are you feeling optimistic for the future?
Very optimistic for the future. And I think, to echo what Simon said, actually, Sabah is this melting pot, of every experience, that people travel to Africa to see wildlife, people travel to, far off distant places to go diving, they travel to places to go mountain climbing. Actually, there's very few places as a tourism destination where you can find everything in one island. And actually that is Sabah. Sabah is such a unique location, and where you can revisit and revisit and revisit so many times. It's a repeat destination, which for tourism is a really important point. You don't want to be a singular destination where people travel once, and you said yourself, Bertie, you came and you stayed, and many of us, this is my second time actually living and working in Sabah, and you find that, and we can only continue that if for Sabah we work together, and that is we work together with the government, with private sector, with NGOs, with WWF. We all work together because it's good. It's what we must do, but it's also actually good for our business, good for our long-term business, and therefore good for the economy, good for everything about this destination that we're in.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Fiona. And then I think let's leave it with the conservation warrior, Monica, for a final thought. To be able to get one point across to the people listening now, what would you say?
Today is the World Children's Day, and the creation of a Sabah plastic neutral is one of our mission is to reach out to all the children, to all the kids around Sabah, and we make sure that all the information, the news, the education planning module, everything will reach out to them, and they are the future. We need to save the future. We need to save their life. It's not about saving the ocean, saving the planet, saving the jungle. It's save our life and save their life for them to have a better and healthy future to live on while we are gone, when we are gone one day. So this is part of our Blue Hope and the Sabah Plastic Neutral mission. For hopefully we can, I am so eager to do it as soon as possible, and we need to collaborate together. We can't do it alone. We are welcome to all people who are willing to come forward and collaborate with us. We are welcome you. Yeah, happy Children's Day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Monica. That's a great point to end at. Unless there's any final comments, we have 1 minute if anyone would like to make a final comment.
I'll just say one more thing. I mean, part of the inspiration for Blue Hope was essentially taking the words of the legendary Sir David Attenborough, and basically, he's 94 now, and essentially him passing the baton to the younger generation. What we need to do is create lots of little Sir Davids, and that is what we're looking to do with the Plastic Ocean series and Maya Karin's version. We want to inspire and come up with their aspirational stories and showcase what Sabah has. This is Sabah's future. And so that's what Blue Hope's all about. That's why we're here in World Children's Day, is to showcase the opportunity, pass the ball to the younger generation, get everyone motivated and embrace it. And this next session we have coming up, the final of 3, is probably the most positive one of all, because it's looking at all the people that are already doing it. And these are the opportunities. This is the future, the community of Sabah in the future. So if you can check in, I think it's in half an hour's time, you're going to meet quite a few inspirational people about what the future is and what the Sabah plastic neutral future could look like. So please join us again if you can, then that'd be great. Thank you. Thanks, Bertie.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. It was really great to have such a diverse panel today and hearing about this from so many different perspectives. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you for watching, and we will see you again at 8:30 for Plastic Waste Recycling Initiatives in Sabah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.